Spot color is a great technique that graphic designers use to create emphasis in their artwork. What you'll notice is that there is a spot of color and the rest of the image is black and white. Usually it's underneath 25% color and the majority of the other color would be black and white or lack of color. In today's lesson, you're going to learn how to find an image, how to save an image, and how to alter the image. Let's get started. Believe it or not, we are going to first go into Chrome and we're going to find an image to use. So as I exit out of here, I actually got started on colorful images. You can be specific by writing colorful iguana or gumballs or cupcakes with colorful jimmies. Go ahead, search, but make sure you click on images. Now, when I type in colorful images, there are thousands of beautiful images on the web for me to use. Well, let's rephrase that. There are 1,000 colorful images on the web, but that doesn't mean I'm free to use any of them. We are going to go to settings and we are going to do an advanced search to make sure that we are good digital citizens. And here you will notice the Google search is colorful images, but there's two things an art teacher is going to watch out for. Your art teacher wants to make sure that you have a decent quality photo size, so go ahead and hover or click on 640 by 480. The second thing we want to make sure we do is we don't violate any copyright law. So we're going to go ahead and click on free to use, share, or modify. From here, we're going to click advanced search and we're going to notice how many of these images have actually changed. Okay, wow, there's a ton that are catching my eye. It would be super fun to do like one dye or one ray of sun coming out of that stained glass, or focus on one fruit versus all the fruit or veggies in there, or just let the umbrella be in color and the girl be black and white. Lots of things that we can pick from. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can play around with this. This image, as I look at it, is a taller image than it is wide. Maybe that's even a square. So when I go into my Photoshop, I want to make sure that I'm very conscientious of this image size. Let's go ahead and see if we can save this by clicking on it. There's this image and this image. It's the same image, yet not quite. This is called an icon, which means it's a smaller file size than this. Now, if I were to click on this one more time, it will notice that there is even a larger file size. For this project, I want to use the largest one for me to use. Again, this image is free to download and it's free for commercial use. So there's no attribution required, which means I am still allowed to use this beautiful image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my Photoshop folder, or you go to your art folder and you go ahead and create a Google Doc. In this Google Doc, we are going to take the time to make sure we get our name in there. Remember, last name. Oop, it would help if I could, there we go. Spot color, because that's the project. And you go ahead and put in yours. Here's a cool trick if you didn't know. If I now click on the untitled document, that all goes into place. All right, I want to take that image, pixel of a girl face, and there's two ways that I can try to get it. Some websites allow you to click, hover, drag, and drop into place. Some websites, oh geez, I don't know how to get rid of that. Some websites expect you to go in and download the image and then drag it in. For this purpose, having it in this doc, I'm doing it because I want to have that image. And then I also, more importantly, want to grab this website so I can use this website to cite my sources. Okay, I'm going to drop it in there. So at any point, if I need to find this image again, I have it on this document. Next, when I look at this image, I think to myself, my goodness, it is like a square, but it's a little bit taller than it is wide. I'm going to remember that as I now open up my Photoshop. When I click on Photoshop, as I open it, it probably will say welcome back. And I have two ways that I can create a new document. I can either click here or I can go to File, New. When I hit Create New, it's going to give me an option. Do I want to do the default? No, I do not. I'm going to be more aware of my image size. Last time I did something that was wider than tall. This time it seems a little bit opposite. I'm going to make mine 8 inches wide, and I'm going to make it mine 9 inches tall to see, or I'm going to actually do 10. I'm going to work with the standards and go with what I got. The orientation will be then vertical because this is going to be a taller image. Resolution 300 pixels per inch, which means it's a high quality image since it's a Photoshop project. And from here, I'm going to click create. Ooh, I made a mistake. I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to set file save as. I skipped over a spot that's really important. My documentation. Remember last name, project title, spot color, and hour. All right, I'm saving it to the desktop for right now. I'm going to click save. Okay, so I want to get this image, this beautiful image, onto this document. So I'm going to click from the original website, not from my Google Doc. It won't move. I have to go from the original website. I'm going to try to click, drag, and drop it into my Photoshop. It worked. So now I am going to kind of enlarge this area. Here's some things I want you to notice right away. We have the background, which is white. That's totally fine. This is layer 1. This layer I want to stretch out to fit this whole surface. So I need to make sure that layer 1 is highlighted because that's the one I'm going to alter. I'm going to go to edit. Halfway down is transform, scale, and you'll notice that I can fit my picture in like so. Want to stretch it out. Oh, it is a square image. All right. And that's okay. I can leave this extra space. I'll cut it off later. I'm going to, you'll notice that it has that blue in there. For that blue to go away or the altering, I just have to go ahead and hit return. From there, it goes away. My next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to then go to layer, duplicate layer, because I want this to be just the same exact thing. So down here, you can see how my layers have changed. All right, let's talk about something. If these two are the same thing or we're doing a spot of color, we got to talk about what's black and white and what do I want to be in color. This, I like to compare this to cake. The background is like the plate. The layer 1 is the cake and the top layer is like the frosting. I want my frosting to be black and white. I know that sounds crazy, but when I cut away the frosting, that's how I can see the layer of the cake. So since I'm on my top layer here in this copy, I'm going to go to image adjustments over down to black and white, where this whole image, I'm going to scooch this over, has become a black and white image. I'm going to click OK. And from here, I can decide where do I want the color. Do I want the color in the lips? Do I want the color in the eyes? How do I want this image to be played out? Well, I'm going to use my eraser tool. Now we've got a bunch of erasers over here. We've got a stamp tool and we've got this eraser tool. I'm going to click on this tool, and the cool thing is I can alter my size. So when I click up on this dot and it says 13, if you look at this, it's super, super small. So I am going to actually, because I'm going to alter the eyes, and this is at 30%. I'm going to zoom in to 50%. That allows me to see it better. And I'm going to pick this size to be, well, let's see, a little bit larger, like that. And I am going to erase the black and white version, and I am going to show the color version. Wow, look at those gorgeous brown eyes. Okay, now because the brown is actually brown and not black or white, it means that I can alter the color, which means you could pick any image of brown. Like you could pick a brown lizard and you can change its color and do whatever. So now I've got this. I cannot alter black and turn it a color, and I cannot take white and turn it a color, but any other I can. Now the last thing I want you to notice is if I were to take away this eyeball, it'll get rid of the lower layer. And by doing that, you can see how I edit it and some spots that I missed. I'm going to actually leave that off so I can go in and know what I missed when it came to that beautiful color eye. And I can give it a little bit better detail to make sure it's clean. And from there, I'm putting that back on. Now check this out. I know this person has gorgeous brown eyes, but if I click on the color layer, I can actually go back to image, adjustments, over to hue and saturation, knowing hue is another word for color, and check this out. If I want to, I can turn those beautiful brown eyes into purple or violet or that blue, or I can turn them into green. I'm also noticing and loving the reflection of the person that has taken this image. But from here, I'm going to click OK. I can always go back or revert. Like, let's say I didn't like it. I can always go to Edit, undo hue and saturation, or edits. Usually we can do a step backwards, but that's how you can get rid of it. From this case, can I just show you one other thing? If I get rid of my black and white layer, when I changed the color, everything changed. Not just those eyes, but every color changed. I don't know, that's a fun effect, but long story short, I hope you have some fun with your altering. Don't forget to file save as. When you file save as, it should say your last name, spot color, and the hour you're in. It should say PSD because it's a Photoshop document, and you need to save it to your desktop. All right, once you have that, since I already saved it, I'm going to replace it. I'm going to hit OK for my format. And from here, before I close everything out, I'm going to minimize it. I'm going to make sure that it is on my desktop. There it is. So I can save that. And then later on, I can drag it and save it into my drive. Like this. Drag, click, drag, and drop into my drive. There we go. All right, so now I have a copy of that. Have an awesome hour playing around with the spot color. Remember, find an image that is free to use, document that image, put it in here, and then you can start opening up in Photoshop and playing with it.